InkDifferent studio. Pick up your brush today.
Hi, welcome to the InkDifferent studio. My name is Fiona. Today we're going to talk about one of the interesting aspects of the landscape painting family, the tree painting. Some say the trees are the coats of mountains. And in our landscape painting, when you look at a painting of this kind, let me show you an example. What might jump straight into your view would in fact be trees. You probably will see the secondary parts, the mountains, the houses, even the boats, the people afterwards. So that the trees are basically the heart and soul of such paintings, and exactly how they play a key hand in the landscape painting family, and from which aspects do people start realizing that the tree paintings are even more important than the people painting or even the houses and the social aspects of the painting. Let's find out how. So basically, the affection of people towards nature was the initial drive of people's quest towards the tree painting. With the trees, people can start to explore this aspect of their lives. And at least in the landscape painting Oriental style family, the people, the houses, the mountains all come second after the trees. The trees would be the most important aspects. So when it comes to the Oriental brush painting, trees often are taken as the key perspective points for a landscape. So when we have a close-up scene, what you will see directly would be some gigantic trees, and everything else is put in perspective accordingly. So that's one of the biggest function of the trees, in fact, to provide that focal point for a landscape. So one of the most important functions of the trees, in fact, would be to provide a focal point of a certain landscape. If the mountains exist, the trees would also exist. So when we have close-up scenes, there will always be a few trees that provides the initial starting point of our painting, basically, and the quality of the tree painting would directly affect the quality of our landscape. Also, the trees provide a great reference point for some location, distance, and even sizes of all the objects in our painting. Because with the contrast of the trees, we can start to understand the relationship of objects in our landscape painting. As we know, the Oriental landscape painting is not a painting of exact perspective in terms of scientific ways. Instead, we have the contrast, we have a context only. Within this context, things are still bigger when they're closer, and they are smaller when they're further. But the exact details are not as accurate as many of the Western paintings. With all this in mind, the trees would provide one of the best rulers in terms of the painting, because with the contrast of the trees, we can start to put everything in perspective. That is one of the key functions also of a tree in the Oriental landscape painting. Furthermore, the trees provide a layer of mystery in the Oriental landscape painting. For the Oriental art, especially the Oriental brush art on the rice papers, we know that a lot of the things that we create always take on a layer of mystery somehow. And with the trees, we basically use certain techniques to hide the truths from the viewer, but let the viewer's brains connect those dots instead. And that is how a good story can be made. And that's exactly what happens in the Oriental paintings too. So with the trees, with the help of the trees, we can do this so much better. Plus, trees are also great codes of the geographic locations. So sometimes when we see trees, we can immediately start to imagine what else is associable, such as perhaps the climate of this location, the geographic shape of this place, even perhaps the local people, food, and even culture. At least when we talk about, say, the Chinese landscape painting, the southern landscapes usually are softer. They are more moist. They are surrounded by water. And in this context, sometimes willow trees would be the interesting example to compare to the characteristic of people. They're soft. They appear to be more feminine. They have this quality about them. On the other hand, when we talk about the so-called northern characteristic, so it's the other tree we use called the populous tree, which are a lot straighter, a lot taller, and they represent the characteristics of the northern people a lot better because they're rougher, but at the same time, they can be very hospitable. So when we think about, for example, tall mountains, and the trees that would pop into the mind would be, in fact, pine trees. Whereas when we talk about palm trees, leaves, then we think about those coastal, beautiful islands. So trees really can give us a great perspective directly into our minds when looking at these paintings. Besides, trees are also fantastic representatives of the seasons. So when thinking about different seasons, we can take the trees to represent that kind of feeling the best. So sometimes when you see light green sprouts starting at the treetop, you think, hey, spring has arrived. On the other hand, when we see larger, beautiful, fully figured leaves being painted, then we think about the hot summer has arrived. On the other hand, when red leaves start to appear at the treetop, then we think about perhaps a poetic fall is arriving, whereas a barren tree would usually suggest the middle of a winter. So trees can provide such seasonal indication that none other words even can actually represent as well. So in summary, trees provide great details to any artistic creation, and for artists such as ourselves, we would need the trees to provide us the help in our landscape painting production. So if you're someone who's interested in finding out about tree painting, I'd say go out there, start the observations today, and start doing some sketches. Practice makes perfect. But if you're someone who's interested in the Oriental art and needs some additional help, then I have the perfect solution for you. I have created this course that can really help you start up this process a lot faster. This is the course that has about 3 hours in length and is divided into 3 sections. We start off with the discussion of regular trees. Then we move on to 12 styles, 12 species of the tree painting, and we will discuss each one of them. Finally, we will talk about how to put trees nicely in a small group. Also, if the group is from afar, how do we paint those trees? So altogether, you will have a great overview and great practice of how to paint trees in the Oriental ink brush painting style. Throughout this course, you will have a lot of time observing how demonstrations are, and you will be able to, of course, paint along. After you're done with this course, if you still have further questions, if the course does not explain certain part of your concerns, you can always also find me for additional help. But if you're someone who is just interested in the art but not exactly in the painting, we also have a great selection of the beautiful artistic decorations in our shop. So in our shop, you can find the original paintings like these, or the prints of these paintings, or even some daily beautiful objects that suit your artistic needs. So we have quite some solutions for you in our shop. Feel free to take a look around and find the things that might interest you. Also, don't forget, there's going to be a coupon code in the description of this video. So use it, apply this coupon at the checkout. Almost all the products in our shop are handmade, and all of them are indeed made of love. It is our desire to provide you with a dose of art in your life and a sense of zen in your homes. If you like the content of this video, don't forget to give us a subscription, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next video. My name is Fiona, and this is the InkDifferent Studio. See you around. Ciao!
For more information, check us out at InkDifferentStudio.com.